I really can't wait. I can't wait to be delivering to apartments, on the 30th floor and in New York, and delivering to the village, and being just so, just such a part of everyday life that even New Yorkers don't even notice it.
Hey everyone, Happy New Year! I'm your host, Jillian Angeline of the PropsClear podcast. We're talking all about drones and about improving public perception surrounding the unmanned aircraft industry. If you've been enjoying the content on the show, be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow on podcast platforms. These episodes are for informational, educational, and entertainment purposes only, so none of this constitutes legal advice. Now let's get to today's guest. Beth Flippo is the Chief Executive Officer at Drone Express. Talk with me a little bit about what Drone Express is. I know it deals with last mile drone delivery logistics and autonomous flight, correct?
Yes. So we are a drone package delivery company. We build our own aircraft. We do not sell our aircraft to anyone. We only use them for ourselves, but we intend to have our app and our delivery service be the future out there for everyone to get what they need. We have some pretty big clients. We have Kroger and Papa John's, and it's really great to have this many people believe in you. So it's been an incredible journey so far.
So, Beth, where does Drone Express operate? What I saw from some of the news stories that were shared on the Drone Express website, Dayton, Ohio, and that area, as well as Atlanta, Georgia area, it was cool to watch one of the first people to receive a package in Dayton, Ohio. He was pretty excited, and just to be able to have someone experience it themselves after ordering something is a pretty cool experience. Have you gotten much feedback from people about the full experience of watching something fly to deliver their items?
Yeah. So the response has been tremendous. And I think COVID had a lot to do with that, and the whole pandemic, because before that, people only got deliveries, a couple times a week, maybe, of food. So
Mm-hmm.
now all of a sudden with the shutdown, they're getting deliveries every day, sometimes multiple times a day. They're all working from home. And the problems with local delivery were really predominant. Like it was more than they could ever, normally see.
Mm-hmm.
And it made them really want an alternative. They were looking for something, saying, why should I have somebody delivering food to me that might be eating it or touching it who might be sick? Like these
Mm-hmm.
were all things that had never been considered when you talked about local delivery before. So I think that's what really changed it and made everybody want to have drone delivery. So we had people coming out, tailgating in the parking lot, watching the drones take off, just constantly ordering to get the drone to their
Tailgating
house.
for drones. That I think might have to be the
Yeah.
title of this
Right?
episode.
That's it was really incredible. I always tell this story that one time I went to go take pictures of the delivery, and I left the same time the drone left in my car. And of course, the drone got there much quicker.
Of
And I
course.
missed the turn on the street that was getting the delivery. And as I looked to my left, it's the whole street is full of people all looking up with their cameras like this. And I'm like, I guess that's where the house was. But people who weren't even getting the delivery were coming out wanting to see it and be a part of it. So that's really been something great, is when you have people behind you rooting for you, that really makes it all worthwhile.
And what I love, and I've seen you shared, similar quotes and things on your LinkedIn page. But what I love is that Drone Express is this small but mighty company, and you are making waves with the FAA. You are at the forefront of some of this work. You are one of 4 companies to provide paid drone delivery, the first wave of companies allowed to provide that paid drone delivery before the BV loss, companies were approved even. How does it feel to know that you're the CEO of this company that's been able to overcome so many obstacles and really show your prowess in this industry?
That's a great question. It's really overwhelming at times, like when you think about it. I came from a company that did defense, that was a defense contractor. So when I decided to do drone delivery, it was just natural to me to want to go get certified. There was
Mm-hmm.
not even a question. And by doing that as quickly as we did, even though we were a little company, we weren't VC backed, we didn't have a lot of money, we were bootstrapping it at that point. we
Hmm.
just went to the FAA, got into the type certificate program, which is to get airworthiness certified for your aircraft, and got into this like very exclusive program because we just tried. We just said, we're not going to give up, and we're going to, push forward with these certifications. And you're going up against companies like Zipline and Google, who have been, and
Hmm.
Amazon, who have been doing drone delivery 5 years longer than we had at that point. But we just kind of kept our head down and kept going, and we got into the top 10 companies that would be allowed to get a type cert, which is huge. And it's not
Unreal.
just
It's unreal.
cargo,
It's incredible.
and it wasn't just cargo companies. It was, surveillance drones too, small drones. But these were the only drones that the FAA was going to let apply to the type cert program. And I still remember that day. I was on vacation in Florida when my
Hmm.
PM from the FAA called, and he was so excited for us because we were this little company trying everything, had never
Yeah.
done anything like this. And to still be at it all these years later and looking back at what we've overcome, I mean, it's incredible. It really is. It's really the story of, like, the little engine that could. We just never gave up, no matter, we watched all these other companies raise all this tons of money, and we just said, we can do this for less and try to do it on our own, and it's working out.
What I love about, your positive energy is that you want to make a difference in the world. That's the vibe I get from, just from meeting you and here and reading about you. And what I was noticing is you could have stayed in computer programming. You have a background in finance and computer programming, but you decided to take this leap into the drone industry, which is pretty impressive because a lot of people don't take that leap of faith, or they don't want to because they stay comfortable in what they have. You had mentioned I'm from New Jersey, so I
Yeah.
also was I was around when September 11th happened. We lost family, friends, and you talk about that. You've talked about that before. That you wanted to do something that you enjoyed because you saw people who passed away at work from that experience. What advice do you have for people who may not be happy in their current jobs right now? I know a lot of people, there's a lot of turnover in places. People are unhappy in their positions. What do you have to say to them?
Um, it's difficult. I have people asking me all the time, should I go out on my own? And all the entrepreneurs out there, I think, would all take a breath before they would say, yes, absolutely, you should go start your own business, because it is scary. Most businesses fail. It's very hard to, you know, keep that momentum up. But for me, I there was no other way. I really felt that, given that I had the background in engineering and I had the background in finance, I felt like I really could do this. And you just calm all the voices and you just find a way to make it happen. But it, I would recommend this life to anyone. I love what I do. I love being able to provide jobs for the people that work for me. I've met the most incredible people. I have a very woman dominant organization. We do have a lot of men that work here too, but it's just amazing to see all these women who multitask in their personal life. They think it's not a skill when they're a
Hmm.
mom and they're at home and they're shuffling everything, and it translates so easily to the work environment. So
Hmm.
that has really been incredible for me. So I like doing it. And like you said, I was there in downtown on 9/11, and I did see some pretty, awful things. So for me, I just want to love what I do every day. And even
Yeah,
though regulations are difficult, I still love what I do every day. And I'm glad that we're doing it in a safe way.
that's so important. And I think that I had seen you post about how this quote that the FAA, there's some phrase, the FAA rules are written in blood. And I just heard that phrase for the first time ever 2 days ago. Safety is such an important aspect, and that's one thing that I've really tried to push, and that's why I'm pushing to improve perception, public perception, with this podcast, because safety should be top of mind for either both the people that are flying the drones, people that involve the industry, but also people just bystanders on the street who, if they see something, they need to say something.
Right. We have learned so much from the FAA about how to build a better aircraft. They pretty much tore our aircraft apart, rebuilt it for us, and how we should be doing it. But like we all saw in Japan, how that plane was able to hit another plane and still be able to have everyone get off. That was all based on decades of accidents and being able to put regulations in place. And it might seem like it's just a lot of effort, but it's not. These rules are there to keep us all safe. So I almost laugh sometimes when people say to me, like, well, so drones are just going to be falling out of the sky. And it's like, drones are going to be just as safe as manned aviation. We are going
Yeah.
through the exact same procedures. We are getting a Part 135, which is an operator certificate, how you train your pilots, even what doctors they go to. All these things are all regulated, and you're going to see that drone delivery is going to be far and away safer than any truck delivering something into a residential neighborhood. And you don't have to worry about, having, people come to your home, who they are. We're actually working with a new partner that's in the pipeline that I can't announce yet, who happens to be
Hmm.
open 24 hours a day. And they say that even though they're open 24 hours a day, women and even a lot of men will not go into a store
Oh,
at
I can
two
see
in the
that.
morning. And you have a lot of people that work shift work, that are nurses, that are people that are on their way home. And you can imagine it's like 2 o'clock in the morning. I know I need milk for their cereal in the morning. I'm still not stopping at that store. Like, there's no way. So they think, this is a way for drones to be able to deliver at night to people's homes, because I also wouldn't open the door for a delivery person at 2 in the morning either. Drones, you wouldn't have that worry. If you're home, it's midnight, your kid is sick, that's when you realize you ran out of Tylenol, is always when they're actually sick in the middle of the night. Drones will be able to bring it to you immediately. Our average delivery time is around 11 minutes, so
Wow.
it's really going to change behavior. It's really going to have people realize, like, if they need something now, they can get it now. So,
That's exciting, and I think that's a perspective that I hadn't heard before about that safety at night. But it's true. Like at a
yeah.
certain point, in the night, I'm not going to drive down to whatever store and get out of my car in the dark parking lot, or make sure that I park underneath a light to
Yeah.
then run in and run out. Like, there's a lot of considerations, especially for women, and like you said, men too, especially in many neighborhoods across the country.
Yeah. And in
So
the
there's a lot to
winter,
consider.
you and I are both from New Jersey. It could be dark at 5 o'clock in the afternoon
Oh.
and make you feel uncomfortable going
Mm-hmm.
somewhere to go just pick up something. I mean, we've all been there. So
Yeah.
I think you're going to see a lot of that change, and people become, you're going to see more ordering of different items. So I'm excited to see, like, where this leads, like what type of commerce this creates.
Oh, I am
Yeah.
too. This is great. And you talk about that you have a lot of women surrounding you. But as we all know, the drone industry is still very male dominated.
Yeah.
Do you have advice for young females that are trying to, make their way through the industry, or at least try and get a foothold like yourself?
I I strongly encourage girls to get into this space. I think
Hmm.
it is exciting, and there's a lot of interaction with people in aviation, and I think it's a perfect fit for women. And I think it's just the next industry that was male dominated that's going to fall. I mean, just like it used to be all doctors were men, it just
Hmm.
eventually, now it's not even, you don't even think about it, when you see female doctors. And I think aviation is just the next thing that's going to be, you're going to see so many women running aviation companies, developing, different types of aircraft. And I really want to encourage young girls. I have 3 girls of my own, so
Oh,
I hope they, want to follow and do aviation too.
do they want to fly drones? Do they
So
have their own toy drones?
they do. We have a lot of drones in our house. I have my son too. So there are four kids in my family. So we have a lot of drones that we play with. And
That's so cool.
yeah, it's interesting. So Most of them, I think, would say that they'd love to fly. It's just my youngest is a little diva who wants to be a fashion designer. So, I want to encourage her also to live her dreams and do what she loves.
They're going to use drones on the runway, or they already have. So drones are going to be part of that experience as well.
Definitely bringing you shoes on a Saturday night when like nothing looks right for what you're
Yeah.
wearing. Could you imagine if you could just be like, oh my God, like DSW, just send some shoes to you in 15 minutes. Yeah, I would use that all the time.
That would save me a lot because it's hard enough to find me shoes. I'm size 5.5, so it's a heck of a journey to find shoes to
Oh,
begin with.
wow.
So if I could just click a couple buttons on my phone and have it delivered in a few minutes, that would be unreal.
Yeah. A lot of this stuff, it's like last minute, like makeup. We keep hearing
Mm-hmm.
from people how great it would be if you watch, because a lot of people watch these
Mm-hmm.
videos of people putting on makeup and applying makeup, and you're so excited. You just
Absolutely.
watched a video, somebody did a smoky eye, but you don't have any of the tools to make that happen. If you could have a drone be delivering them, so 15 minutes after you're done watching the video, you've got all the stuff to try it yourself. So there's a lot of benefits of drone delivery that isn't just fast food. I think a lot of people just immediately gravitate towards food,
Yeah.
but you're going to see a lot of changes in what people are ordering last minute.
I think fast food was the easier use case for the beginning of this industry too. A
Right.
pizza box or something. It's easier for people to understand, like, oh, a pizza box gets delivered. But when you
Right.
start adding in all those other products, as long as people can find a good price point, or companies can find a good price point to make this work financially, I think
Right.
that's going to be a heck of a exciting future.
Right. And for me, I also like we always talk about using Main Street as our distribution centers. That's how we save money. And we're supporting local businesses. We're bringing back that Main Street aspect and all these stores where our friends work at, where we all shop at. We should be supporting them. And instead, we're ordering online and sometimes sacrificing quality, most of the time,
Yeah,
sacrificing quality
absolutely.
just
Yeah.
because you don't want to have to go to a store to get it. So, can you imagine if you'd be able to deliver things locally, the quality that you want, but get it quickly from using a great app? That'll change everything, and I think you'll see a lot more brick and mortar stores getting created once local delivery can be done in an economical way.
So, tech talk really quick. Drone Express has their own drone
Yes.
that was created. You said the FAA gave you suggestions on how to like change it. What is this drone? It's not a DJI drone. It's not a Skydio drone. Tell me a little bit about the drone.
So it's a hexacopter. I have a toy version of it behind us. So I can bring it over, actually, show you
Okay,
this. But
that's cool.
our real one is about 4 feet across. It's pretty big. It can carry about 8 pounds. And
Mhm.
it's, very powerful and most importantly, very safe. And the reason why it
Mhm.
was designed as a hexacopter is because it can survive a motor down. The same reason why manned aviation, you have multiple engines. We have that
Mhm.
same kind of design in mind. And this is the one that we will be doing delivery here in the United States. But we also just
Mhm.
developed heavier lift aircraft. We have a new international customer that I can't say yet, but I will let you know as soon as I can.
Please do.
And we are delivering, it will carry 30 pounds. We call it the DE
Oh wow.
2023. And
Wow.
it's just amazing. Like once you're able to build these aircraft, what you're really capable of.
Mhm.
So yeah, we have a lot of technology. We have great engineers here that just have been playing with drones their whole life, and now they get to actually do something with it. So you definitely see the excitement on their faces when people are
Mhm.
getting the delivery, and a lot of these engineers also happen to be the pilots, and
Mhm.
yeah, it's incredible what we're able to build, being as a small company and keeping it tight. We can really do amazing things.
So when you say hexacopter, for people that may not necessarily be as deep into the drone industry as you, what does that mean? And is that about the engine, or is that about the propellers? If one of the propellers goes down, how does that work?
So hex just means that we have six motors. So what it means is that if one of these motors goes down, this drone can stay in the air. Whereas a quad, if you have four motors and one
Hmm.
goes down, you need to have a parachute. There's no way that a three motor would be able to stay flying. So that's just the way that we designed it to be six motors. People have all different kinds of designs. There's no right way. There's no one
Hmm.
way that is the better way. There are people have coaxial motors, which are one on top of the other. There's
Hmm.
octocopters, which are eight motors. It all depends on what your use is.
Hmm.
So you have people, watering fields with drones. You have people putting out fires with drones. All these kinds of drones do
Hmm.
different things. So there really is no one way to build it. This was just the way we knew that for our type certification, we had to meet some safety standards to make
Yeah.
sure that this drone stayed in the air and was able to make smart decisions on whether it should land, whether it should go back to home if something happened. That's why we chose to go with this type of configuration.
Success is built on a lot of trial and error. I mean, there are quotes about that for years. Are there any failures along the way that you had to overcome that you're proud of at this point now that when you look back?
Oh my God, when I look back, I mean, our first drone, this is our fifth version, our fifth
Hmm.
iteration, our V5. Um, the first one was a quad. It was a very small aircraft, and we really learned a lot through how to get it to fly and what issues we were having. But one unique thing that made us make a lot of changes is that our entire drone is American made. And that was very important to the FAA, and that was important to us, especially with my background in defense. You
Hmm.
have to make sure that every part that's on there can be traced all the way back to where it was produced. I mean, you
Hmm.
know, in manned aviation, if a plane ends up in the ocean 10 years later, if they find one piece of it, they know exactly where it came from because it was stamped
Hmm.
on there. That is an incredible thing that you only see in aviation, and we have to meet that same standard. So that, I think, was the biggest learning for us. Taking quality control where you normally have like an ISO, or we did manufacturing, it was just standard. Aviation is just a totally different layer on top of that, and making sure you build things in a certain way. So that was really, it wasn't that, there were things that had happened to the drone, like a normal cycle of events. It was really just learning all these regulations and making sure we were building to them. So that's what really helped us get this aircraft.
And I mean, you were talking about safety and about what happened in Japan earlier this week. I mean, you think about that, and I heard even CNN correspondent Will Ripley said a lot of Japan is asking questions because they've been known for their transportation safety.
Right.
So it's a big shock for a lot of that community to be wondering, what happened, what communication issue happened, or what happened where two planes were in the same place at the same time.
Right. And I think, as through the years, they've added more and more and more safety. And I think the next logical step is automation, because I think we're at the point now where most people know that aircraft is safe. You don't have a lot of the mechanical issues that they had to overcome through the years. It will probably come out that this accident was caused by a person making a mistake. And that's where it's exciting to be a part of this automation future. I truly believe that computers can make better decisions, and even in cars. I mean, most of the accidents are caused by somebody making a mistake. I mean, I would love a future where all the cars were autonomous and you never had to worry about drunk drivers anymore or anything like that. So I think the next step in aviation is to embrace that autonomy. I just think they're waiting on like ground-based autonomy to really take off, to fully integrate that. But it's has to come. I mean, computers can make better decisions, have more inputs, and yeah, I think that's going to be the shift. And you might see it faster if there's more events like what happened in Japan. You might see, more things like that where the plane won't let the operator make those mistakes. So we'll
Yeah.
see.
Do you have a hand in the coding or the programming in the back end with this with your drone through the years,
So
given your background?
I do. So I'm an embedded software developer. So what that
Okay.
means is I build mobile operating systems and I build
Mhm.
write the code on those platforms. So it means that what I do is trying to write code for, not a workstation. It's usually got limitations. It's got memory
Mhm.
limitations. It's not as powerful. You have to make, so it's a more complicated form of development. And we do a lot of RF technology. Most of those are mobile phones, things like that.
Mhm.
That's the type of code that I've always loved and been into. So actually, our drone, what we call our secret sauce, is that we have a mesh network on board that allows all the drones to talk to each other in the sky, and it allows them to talk
Wow.
to multiple pilots on the ground. Um, there's nobody else that has something like that, and I was one of the lead developers on creating that. Before we even created a drone, the
Mhm.
network was the most important, because we understood that, like, communications is what the FAA is so fearful about, is of a drone ever losing connectivity with the ground, because if it's autonomous, it needs somebody to be watching it. And so we come to this from a communications perspective, because my engineering is in communications. So a lot of other drone companies come from the mechanical design part. We've always tried to focus on making our drone the smartest drone. So some people focus on whisper props, making them really, really quiet. We think that's going to come eventually. As this industry takes off, you're going to see all different kinds of new drone tech come out.
Mhm.
We want to make sure ours is the smartest. That's why we partnered with Microsoft. We're
Mhm.
co-developing AI on the aircraft, and
The Azure machine learning system, right?
huh?
The
Sorry.
Azure machine learning system,
Yes,
correct?
yes, absolutely.
Mm.
Sorry. So what that is when you fly over somebody's house and you look down, the drone has to know this is a pool, this is a roof, this is a dog running, this is their driveway, this is the place to drop this package. And it's a perfect AI solution, because we feed in pictures of homes all across the country and say, this is the best place right here, this is the best place. And we're watching the drone get smarter, and we're at about 88% now of
Wow, that's
success
incredible.
of the
Oh my
drone being
gosh.
able to always pick the right spot. And this is the kind of stuff where it gets really exciting to me, because I am a software developer and I love that kind of stuff. So yeah, I wish I could do more and be more
Mhm.
hands-on, but I am lucky enough to have hired really great people that I can count on to design it the way I would have designed it.
For that 12%, is there anything that they're still working on trying to teach it what the difference is about? Are you thinking of, is it for narrow sidewalks in closer proximity homes? Like what is that 12% that's still
So a lot of
left?
it is trees. Honestly, a lot of it is when you have a lot of cover and there really might just not be a safe place. So it might pick a
Mm.
place that's very close to the sidewalk because that's the only spot available, but it's not really where you would want your drone to make your delivery. So it's
Mm.
those fine lines that we're still working out.
Trees.
Yeah, lots of trees, lots of different coverage. Like you're saying, homes that are much closer together. Apartments are going
Hmm.
to be very interesting. I can't wait to get to that point where you're actually, in the beginning, it'll be like one location in the apartment
Hmm.
complex, but yeah, like you see in the sci-fi movies, eventually it's going to be coming to balconies. It's going to be delivering onto rooftops and lowering down to the lobby. Like, you're going to see a lot of interesting stuff.
We're living in the movies basically right now, if you think about it, with the
Y-
way things are progressing.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody references Ready Player One. Actually, the writer of that is from Ohio. And you see them just fly in really quickly, delivering pizzas, delivering things, and people don't even think about it. And that's what it's going to be like. It's not right now, people are still going to get excited to see the drone come to their house and want to be out there taking videos and putting it all over their Insta. But like eventually, you're not even going to see that drone. You're just going to open the door and it's just going to, your package will just be there. And that's really where we want to get to, where it's not about the gimmick anymore. It's about the
Hmm.
convenience.
Wow. What do you see in the industry in the next 5 to 10 years?
So regulations have come a long way. I see a lot of the companies finally coming out with our certificates and being able to really start scaling our operations. I think you're going to see it's going to be fast. It's going to be everywhere because everybody's going to want it. And I think that's going to really, the hardest thing that we see in the next 5 years is how to scale with the demand that is going to be
Yeah.
there. Because as soon as you get one city where it's working great and everybody loves it, every other city is going to be like begging for it. And we're not even just talking in the US. I mean, the FAA is the gold standard worldwide.
Mhm.
You're going to see once it's working in New York City, they're going to want it in London. They're going to want it all over
Mhm.
the world. So it's going to be an interesting 5 years in the next 5 years, but it will be a regular daily part of your life
Mhm.
having drone delivery in 5 years.
Is there a city that you're wanting to expand to? Is there a dream city that you're like, if Drone Express could operate here, that would be incredible?
Um, I'm a New Yorker, and New York will always be the place I want to see drone delivery go to. My dream is to cross that Hudson River and be able to take some load off the Lincoln Tunnel and be able to
Yes.
deliver
Yes.
and create businesses also on the New Jersey side that will be able to deliver things really quickly right across that water. Like it's not such a major obstacle, but
No.
for vehicles, for the ground, it is. And I really can't wait. I can't wait to be delivering to apartments, on the 30th floor and in New
Mhm.
York and delivering to
Yeah,
the
that would be
village and
amazing.
being just so, just such a part of everyday life that even New Yorkers don't even notice it anymore. And that's really, yeah, New York will always have my heart. So one
I
day,
mean, I drive in New York City all the time to see friends for business meetings, and the amount of e-bikes or bikes and delivery bikes that have come onto the streets since the pandemic has grown so much. And I drive all the time in there, and my biggest fear is hitting one of them because
yeah,
because it's dark, especially when it's dark outside. They're flying. Some have lights. Some you're not sure if they have lights, but they're coming really fast, and it's a safety, it's such a safety hazard in my humble opinion. And
right,
so if we can alleviate, like you said, alleviate the trucks off the road, alleviate that kind of concern, maybe teach some of the delivery drivers to fly the drones so they still have jobs and they're not out of jobs, but
right.
being able to give them a different skill so that people can still get their items, but it keeps those delivery drivers safe and off the bikes and off those lanes. I think that would be really revolutionary.
Yeah, there was a video that went around during the pandemic of somebody on a bike delivering food for someone in like 3 feet of water.
That was
And
during Ida. Yep.
yeah, and it was
Yeah.
just an incredible thing. It was like this should not be
Mm-hmm.
happening. But drones are eventually they're going to be fully weather resistant. But one amazing thing is after a big snowfall, like I think, you guys, I'm going back to New York City this weekend. So there's supposed to be a huge winter storm,
There is.
but in the morning, the drones will be able to fly
Mm-hmm.
and while trucks will still be stuck. And I
Mm-hmm.
think, immediately you're thinking, hot chocolate and oh, I can get my eggs, but like imagine people who need medicine, people who are struggling right now when there's a huge snowfall, they're
Mm-hmm.
just stuck in their homes. Nobody can even get to them. Nobody can send them
Yeah.
insulin. Nobody can do anything. So I can't wait to see really what drones can do and how it changes just everyday life. Um,
When I was with the AccuWeather Network, I covered the 80 inches that hit Buffalo, New York.
oh
There
wow.
were people snowed in for days. I trudged through like a heck of a snowdrift to get to a woman who had been stuck in her home and had to literally, they had to go through the window because the door was completely jammed with snow in order to clear the snow off. And these are people that are running out of very important items for days after an 80-inch storm because nothing can keep up with the problem, and there are travel bans on the roadways still.
Yeah.
For being able to negate the travel bans and be able to fly something to someone would be amazing, I think.
Yeah. Even if you imagine being stuck in traffic right now, if you have like a big snowstorm and people are stuck there, they have no food to eat. Drones will be able to bring them things that they need. People who are in accidents, people who run out of gas. It's going to be just a part of your roadside assistance package someday, that like you get stuck on the side of the road and it's going to deliver whatever you need to help you. Even if your phone dies or something, the car will be able to send the drone to you with a cell phone for you to use, just to be able to contact people. It's revolutionary. It really is, of what it's going to be able to do.
That's amazing. Do your kids want to go into business with you? I don't know how old they are, but are they ready to jump in and help Drone Express expand?
My son just turned 18 and he's applying to colleges, and he's
Mhm.
always said that he would love to come work for Drone Express. My father always had a rule that we always had to go work for somebody else first before joining a family business. So we always had a family business, Telegrid, and like I was saying, it was a defense contractor.
Mhm.
But all of us, me and my brothers, we all did engineering, and we all went into banking. It's because you have to learn to work for other people before you go right into the family business. So I think I'll stick with that rule with
Mhm.
him too. But yeah, I nothing could make me happier,
Mhm.
being able to help him. I love being able to hire my friends and be able
Mhm.
to create an environment where people love to come to work here. So
Yeah.
I would love my children to work for a place like this, where we don't need to ask people if they can come into the office. It's like a little club. We're excited, we feel like we're going to miss something if we don't come into work.
Oh, I like that.
So I
Aw.
think a lot of it has to do with that, a lot of that feminine influence, and people
Mhm.
coming in and just baking cookies for no reason. Like, this is this is a unique place, and that's why I think we're able to create such amazing things, because we have just that warm environment that you don't usually see, especially not in technology. I've always worked in technology, and it's
Mhm.
always on the quieter side. So
Mhm.
this place is very unique in how we operate, and we have incredible investors too that
Aw.
believe in us. We just closed our seed. We just raised 9.9 million, of people that also believe that drone delivery is the future, and they're part of the family.
Aw.
They really, we include them in everything and try to have them be a part of it, because they also bring so much talent and knowledge that we want to hear from them. And so yeah, I would love to bring in anybody that would want to be a part and experience what it is to work at Drone Express.
Well, thank you so much, Beth, for your time. I really appreciate it. This has been so fun
Absolutely.
and really insightful and impactful. And you said a lot that made me think and made me feel things. So I think that's a beautiful thing.
Great.
So thank you so much for your time.
And thank you for having me. This was wonderful.
If you have suggestions for guests or topics on the show, please email me, angelswings.jillian@gmail.com. That's ANGELSWINGS.JILLIAN@gmail.com. I'll see you later.